Hari Bol, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Happy to see all of you. Om Tat Sat, Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitinamane. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jayasi Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hari Bol and Hare Krishna. So, Hare Krishna. I hope you remember. I hope you remember the last session we had together. I hope you're all doing fine, and you have also done a little bit of the homework that I asked you to do, to read up all those amanitvam, madambitvam, ahimsa, kshanti, rajyavam, acharyo, pasanam, chaiva, the process of knowledge that I spoke to you about. And I'm sure that you're such good students, all of you would have done it. I have no doubt about the fact that all of you would have done it. Am I right? No, I'm just taking it for granted. I'm not even going to ask you a question. You must have done it. Okay? I take it that you have done it.
Maharaj, I was absent last Maharaj, so.
Aha. Absence makes the heart grow fonder. You must be more interested, that means. Anyway, here it is. I will help you all to go through it once more. I knew that. I know that you're all busy with many things. Can you see my screen? Can you see my screen?
Yes, Maharaj.
Yes, Maharaj.
Yes, Maharaj.
Yeah. So we sort of saw this, I think, long back, and last time I was in Guruvayur, I was not able to get a proper system to put up these things, so I managed with my iPad. This is a quote of Prabhupada I've taken from the Bhagavad Gita. One should be careful not to consider the Supreme Personality of Godhead and every body to be one with the individual soul, the jiva. This is something like equating the potent and the impotent. Okay? I think we read this and you would remember it. So here it is. Krishna spoke about Kshetra, Kshetrajna, and two types of Kshetrajna. This is a quick recap for you. So there is Kshetra, the body, the Kshetrajna, the conditioned soul, and three Kshetrajna, super soul. Kshetrajnam chapimam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharasa. Initially, Krishna says, Kshetra kshetrajnayor jnanam. These, knowing the Kshetra and the Kshetrajna is called knowledge by me. Yatta jnanam matam mama. It is my opinion, he said. And then later we understood the interrelationships with these things. That is the body, how it's related with the super soul, how the body is related with the soul. It belongs to the soul. The body belongs to the soul. But the super soul provides the body, the material facility through the agency of material nature. And the soul is enjoying matter through the body under the modes of material nature. And the super soul is a witnesser and the sanctioner inside this body along with the spirit soul. All this we read. Very important, so I'm just showing you graphically. Two types of Kshetrajna, super soul and conditioned soul. And the Kshetra is the body and the field of activities. And we also studied the bigger field of activity. Mahabhutanya hankaro buddhirabhyaktam evacha. That is beyond the body is also the world of matter, manifested for the sense objects to be accessed by the senses. I think you remember. Are you seeing my screen?
Yes,
Yes,
Maharaj.
Maharaj.
Yeah. Mahabhutani Ahankaro. And then this is the summarization of that for you. Krishna's external energy, Maya Shakti, Bahiranga Shakti, the material world and the material energy, and behind which Krishna says he is. He says that. And how the living entity is inside that. It consists of these 25 elements, 24 elements, 5 senses, 5 sense objects, 5 great elements, subtle body, mind, intelligence, and ego, and all that together, plus time. It becomes, that's what we listed that. Then we spoke about the process of knowledge. Amanitvam, Adambitvam, Ahimsa, Kshanti, Rajam, Acharyo, Pasanam, Chaiva, Stairyam, Atma, Vinigraha, Atma, Samshuddhir, like that. And Krishna says, Ajnanam Anyato Yata. Everything else is ignorance apart from this. So this is called the process of knowledge. So 3 things have actually been described. Okay. And then Krishna goes ahead and describes the knowable. And then he describes the Paramatma. Sarvatra Shiromukam, Sarvatra Pani Padam Sad, Sarvatra Shiromukam, Sarvatra Shrutima Loke, Sarvamavritam Tishtati. Who is the Paramatma? What is his role in the body as the well-wisher of the soul, friend of the soul, sanctioner and witnesser of everything? All that, we saw that also described in the 14th and the 15th and the 16th shlokas. So the object of knowledge, the jiva and the super soul, that's also mentioned by Krishna. And then he goes further to talk about, which is what I wanted to bring this in the background, a very, very important thing. So Krishna is saying in text 19, Iti kshetram tatagyanam gyayam choktam samsatah madbhakta etad vijnaya magbhava upayopapadyate. Before that, in the Krishna has described before that all the 3 things that is, he has described before that the super soul, and before that knowledge, knowable, and the knower is what I am summarizing from all these things together for you. Okay. Krishna goes ahead in the 20th chapter to describe after summarizing this. So let's go into this. The knowable is the Supreme Lord who is present as super soul in your heart, along with you, the soul. Right? And the knower is you. Apart from the fact that the Supreme Lord is also knower. You are the person trying to know, wanting to know, and you get to know. And the process of knowledge, amanitvam, adamit, humility, pridelessness, tolerance, patience, and all that together is a process by which you will get to know this. Without that, you will not get to know the Supreme Lord. All right. So if you go into 19, iti kshetram tatagyanam gneyam choktam samasatah madbhakta etad vijnaya madbhavayo papadyate. Very important statement is making in 19. What is he saying? Only my devotee can understand this thoroughly. Madbhakta, you see the word specifically using the word. Madbhakta etad vijnaya. Only my devotee can understand. Vijnaya means to have realization of the knowledge. Mad bhavayo papadyate, and he will attain to my nature, my bhava. Means he will also become completely spiritual. Right? And what I have done, iti kshetram tata jnanam gneyam. Kshetram, jnanam and gneyam. Field of activities, knowledge and the knowable I have described to you. 3 things, very important for you to know. So I'm going to ask you, somebody to read that purport. Read that translation on the screen. Gita Kishore, would you like to read the translation on the screen? You have to unmute yourself.
Thus, the field of activities, the body, knowledge, and the knowable have been summarily described by me. Only my devotees can understand this thoroughly and thus attain to my nature.
Right. Thank you, Gita ji. Make this important note. This is a complex thing. Many people have knowledge about it, but many of them make mistakes in it. They'll tell them the soul and the super soul is the same. They'll say the super soul, Bhagavan, is controlled by material nature. They'll make all these mistakes in basic understanding. Because of that, a completely different philosophy will come out of it, which is wrong. And because of that, certain things that they do in life will also lead to other things. So it's important for us to know these interrelationships between God as a super soul, this material world and material nature, this body, and you as soul, right? Krishna is making a point. It's normally difficult to understand. Jnanis will make a mistake in understanding it. Karmis will make a mistake in understanding it. Yogis will make a mistake in understanding, but only my devotee can fully understand it. Mad bhakta etad vijnaya mad pavayo papadyate. You must note that. Mad bhakta is using the word. My devotee only can understand it. Not one who is in the platform of Gyan or karma or other things. One who is practicing devotion, devotional service. He only can understand it. Very important point to note. That's why I want us to quickly read through this beautiful explanation given in the purport to text 20. I want you all to open out in your Bhagavad Gita text 20. Prakritim purusham chaiva vidhi anadhi ubhavapi vikaramscha gunamschaiva vidhi prakriti sambhavan. Have you got that? Text 20, I am reading. I hope you've got that. So let me ask Lata Subbanna, who is here. Welcome, Lata Subbanna. Can
Hare
you,
Krishna Prabhu.
can you be kind enough to read the purport to text 20? You have got Prabhupada's textbook with you, right? Lata, have you got Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita as it is? Chapter 13, text 20.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yeah.
Shall I read the purport, Prabhu?
Yes, please read.
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu. Thus the field of activities, the body, knowledge, and the knowledge knowable have been summarily described by me. Only my devotees can understand this thoroughly.
That is
And
text 19. That is text 19. I have
Ah.
already read that. I'm asking you to read text 20's purport.
Prabhu. I'll read, Prabhu. But it's not showing in on the screen, no, Prabhu.
No, it won't show on the screen. I'm asking you to read it from your book.
Yeah, but I have my Kannada copy.
Oh, Kannada Nimatre Idya.
Prabhu. Yeah.
ಇಲ್ಲಿ Kannada
The book is
ಸರಿ ಆಗಲ್ಲ ರೀ. I think we have to. Okay, I'll ask somebody else to read. That's okay.
I'll buy copy tomorrow, Prabhu.
Pardon.
Vijay Rajan here.
I'll buy English copy tomorrow, Prabhu.
Can I
Okay,
read?
please. Okay, please go ahead. Anyway, who can read it? Who has got the English copy?
Can I read?
Who?
Vijay Rajan.
Please go ahead, Vijaya Rajanji.
By the knowledge given in the chapter, one can understand the body, the field of activities and the knowers of the body, both the individual and the super soul. The body is the field of activity, body, and enjoying the activities of the body is the Purusha.
You have missed out something, Vijaya Rajanji.
The individual soul is the embodiment and enjoying the activities of the body in the Purusha or the living entity. He is one knower and the other is the super soul. Of course, it is to be understood that both the super soul and the individual entity are different manifestations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The living entity is the category of his energy and the super soul is the category of his personal expansion.
Okay, we'll stop there. 1 minute.
Okay.
So you can understand. Thank you, Vijay Rajanji. So can you understand very clearly the last statement here? The living entity is in the category of his energy, and the super soul is in the category of his personal expansion. I want you to note that, because further Prabhupada will speak more about this. This is a technical description. This is, I told you, physics. You can see how deeply Bhagavad Gita deals with material nature, ourselves, our relationships and everything. Who said Bhagavad Gita is just some religious text which you have to believe without any understanding and reasoning? You can see the amount of technicalities we have gone into till now. And there's much more. We are actually skimming the surface. Okay? So please understand this very well, that the body is a field of activity composed of material nature. And he is called Purusha because you are enjoyer of that situation. And he is one knower and the other is the super soul. Both the super soul and the individual entity are different manifestations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. What is that? The living entity is from the energy of the Lord. But the super soul is a direct expansion of the Lord. Okay? Please understand that. Okay, next paragraph. Can you please read Krishna's Gandhi?
Hare Krishna and Pranams Maharaj. Both material nature and the living entity are eternal. That is to say that they existed before the creation. The material manifestation is from the energy of the Supreme Lord, and so also are the living entities. But the living entities are of superior energy. Both the living entities and material nature existed before this cosmos was manifested. Material nature was absorbed in the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Mahavishnu, and when it was required, it was manifested by the agency of the Mahat Tattva. Similarly, the living entities are also in him, and because they are conditioned, they are averse to serving the Supreme Lord. Thank you, Maharaj. Thus, they are not allowed to enter into the spiritual sky. But with the coming forth of material nature, these living entities are again given a chance to act in the material world and prepare themselves to enter into the spiritual world. That is the mystery of this material creation. Actually, the living entity is originally the spiritual part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, but due to his rebellious nature, he is conditioned within material nature. It really does not matter how these living entities or superior entity of the Supreme Lord have come in contact with material nature. The Supreme Personality of Godhead knows, however, how and why this actually took place. In the scriptures, the Lord says that those attracted by this material nature are undergoing a hard struggle for existence. But we should know in it with certainty from the descriptions of these few verses that all transformations and influences of material nature by the three modes are also productions of material nature. All transformations and variety in respect to living entities are due to the body. As far as spirit is concerned, living entities are all the same. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you. That was a long read. Thank you. So I want you to understand where we have come. It's a very nice explanation of where we are, what we are, and how we are in this situation. Okay? That's why we read this out. It's very beautifully explained by Prabhupada technically. All right. Now, you know that this body we are inside, we are not this body. We are inside this body. And there are forces and powerful energies controlling that. And there is a super soul, God himself, who is next to you, giving you directions according to your desires, because he has created everything, and helping you to navigate and so that you can enjoy material life, but under certain rules and regulations, under certain conditions. So you can understand, nobody is free in this world. It's not that nobody is managing things. Stupid and foolish to think like that. It's closely managed. Many things are very closely managed. You cannot say that I don't see any God and therefore I don't think there is any management going on. That's the last thing you should be able to say or should say, right? So I think there's some sound coming. Somebody needs to mute it. Quite a bit sound. Did you hear that? Somebody's breathing is being heard very loudly. I don't know. Please, you can mute it. I'm not able to locate who it is. So please understand that very well. Now, because why I'm saying these things, we are going into finer areas of explanation that Krishna has given. Now, the soul is situated inside this world of matter, and this world of matter is very nicely arranged. You are inside this body, and there is a world of dead matter outside, and then there is super soul also inside with you. And it looks like it's very well designed, very carefully arranged, and there are higher authorities managing it. And there is a Supreme Lord beyond all this material manifestation who does not belong to it, but who very well knows everything that's going on because it's going on under him. Maya dakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam. Now Krishna will further explain what other thing you need to know. If you go to text 21, which is a very classic, wonderful explanation. Karya karana kartritve hetuhu prakriti ruchyate purushaha sukha dukkhanam bhoktritve heturuchyate. Okay, Suyambhu, would you like to read that? Suyambhuji, can you read that translation on the screen?
Nature is said to be the cause of all material causes and effects, whereas the living entity is the cause of the various sufferings and enjoyments in this world.
Thank you. So understand this. Material nature controls matter, and there is a force in this world controlling and doing things. And you are there for the sake of enjoying matter, because you have cut yourself off from God, from Krishna, which is explained in the purport we just read now. And you want to be alone and you want to enjoy on your own and be separated. So you are situated there because of your own choice and your own desire. This is the part we don't like. We don't like to be blamed, but that's the way it is. You are situated there inside this arrangement. Okay. So the enjoyments, the sufferings, in other words, the experiences of your situation coming from various desires that you have and karmas that you have from the past, that is yours. Because it's based on how you experience matter in this world. But what is happening in the world of matter? Karya karana kartritve hetuhu prakritiru. Hetu means cause. The cause is prakriti, nature, material nature. That's what is said and that's what is understood. Whereas your experiences of happiness and distress are yours. Okay? A very important point to know. Krishna is slowly discussing very deep aspects. So material nature keeps functioning like a flux. Day, night, storms. Now it's raining cats and dogs here. And, climate change and so many things happening. That goes on. And inside that, you are situated as a conscious, breathing, living, feeling, willing entity, the conscious soul. So you get affected by all these things. And according to that effect, you have distress, you have happiness, and all that happening to you. You are the reason for that. Because some people can even stay in that situation, which is very disturbing, and not feel anything. Because he chooses not to. Or he has a strength not to by his spiritual capacity. So basically it means here you have the free will to stop yourself from suffering if you get to know how it is mechanically arranged. And if you can know how to navigate it, you don't have to feel certain things about certain things. That is your responsibility. But if you don't have spiritual knowledge, if you don't have a devotional attitude towards Krishna, you will suffer and enjoy. Enjoyment is completely illusory. Suffering is also illusory, but you will go through it because that's what you're here for. Falsely, you'll go through it. That's what you're here for. Get this point very clear. Material nature is functioning according to how it has to function. It's very callous. It is indifferent to you. It operates like a machine. And you are inside that, and all those experiences are yours. This is the meaning of that. In other words, it means that when you, as spirit soul, are prodded by material nature through the three modes, which we're going to discuss in more detail, it is up to you to decide, don't react. Wait, hold on, let's see. That's what you can do. Because these are two different things that's described till now. If you want, if you become devotionally oriented, if you become attached to Krishna, and if you derive that spiritual strength, then every time material nature teases you by something happening, you can say, hold on, don't react to it. That capacity you have. Why? It is by your choice only you're suffering and enjoying. So by your choice, you can say, hold on. So there is a reactive response and there is a proactive response. In management, they'll teach you that, right? Between every provocation that comes from matter and the material world, you as spirit soul can stop from reacting and say, let's see what's happening, why it's happening. You are capable of doing that because you're a spirit soul fully conscious. But when you don't have proper education, you will just sail along with it. You'll be pushed by the material modes into suffering, into enjoying and all that. And when it's enjoyment, you feel very good and completely forget everything. When it is suffering, it's very miserable. But both are equally bad because in both of those situations, you have totally lost understanding of yourself, about God, about nature or anything. You're totally ignorance. Enjoyment in this material world is also in ignorance. Suffering is also in ignorance. That is why there is something beyond these two. In full knowledge about yourself, which is explained process of knowledge and the knower and the knowable. In full knowledge of that, you will enjoy much better. That's what Prabhupada said in the purport. But you're so foolish, you don't know how to enjoy. And you're stuck. So you will react. Here is matter and consciousness. You know, there is a nexus between matter and spirit. You are the conscious spirit soul. And this body is actually made of matter, dull matter. But because of consciousness, it is becoming alive. Okay? So I've shown this here by an example of a lady's hand, a very beautiful looking hand. It is so, and it is attractive because you are conscious and that lady is also conscious. But actually, that hand is not really attractive. It is like this computer's robotic hand. It's made out of matter. It's actually not conscious. But because of the presence of the soul, it has become conscious. And it is making itself look attractive to you. So you can understand how karya karana kartritve hetur prakriti ruchyate purusha sukha dukkhanam bhoktritve hetur ruchyate. You are the reason for seeing this type of matter, thinking it to be enjoyable and real, and making your enjoyment and misery come into focus and into play. Okay? Matter and spirit, two things are at play here. You are not this body means you are not matter. You are the conscious, eternal spirit soul. The physics of this whole nexus between matter and spirit is being explained in the 13th chapter. That's why Krishna described all these things till now. The core subject is here now. Now, you constantly pay great value to matter. Your body, how it looks. You stand in front of the mirror, decorate it very nicely. You look very presentable. And when people tell you, you look very good, you immediately smile with great happiness. Why? Because you're so much thinking that I am this body. And that person is also seeing you as body. Right? It's all based on matter. Mistaking the spirit to be matter. It's wrong. It's wrong. But that's what the material world is about. The material world is about that. Karya karana kartritve hetur prakriti ruchyate purusha sukha dukkhanam bhoktritve hetur ruchyate. Right? So all your miseries and all your happiness are actually illusion. They don't really affect the soul. But the conditioned soul wants that experience, so he is falsely affected and he thinks it to be real. This is what is happening. This is the meaning of Maya Shakti. Krishna's power of illusion makes that happen to you. Now you know where you're situated in matter and how you are bewildered and what is the mechanics of things happening. Very, very important. And maybe I should not go to this now. So everything in this world is a composition of matter and spirit and the interactions thereof. Okay? And that is reflected here. Yavat sanjayate kinchit sattvam stavara jangamam kshetra kshetragnayor samyogat tadvidhi bharatarishabha. What beautiful physics and what engineering and physics and science. Krishna is very casually speaking it on the battlefield to Arjuna, and Arjuna's understanding. It's actually a physics session on the battlefield about matter and about the way matter behaves and how you are situated, everything. So amazing. And people don't even read this properly. Everything is explained here. Much better than what you will ever learn even in a PhD session on physics. Very foundational things are explained here. Krishna is saying everything is a combination of matter and spirit, the moving and the non-moving. In technical terms, a field of activities and the knower. Kshetra and kshetragnayor samyogat. I told you kshetra is a field of activity, matter and the body. Kshetragnya is a super soul and the soul. A combination of the conditioned soul, consciousness and matter and the material world is what you see around you, everything around. Krishna is explaining. Anywhere you see, it's a manifestation of these things. Okay? That is why a knowledgeable person knows how to deal with these things. He knows how to take into consideration one minute. Okay. He knows how to take into consideration the whole understanding that he has got, and therefore live a life that is completely based on full understanding of the self. Very important for us to understand these things very nicely, carefully. Many times people make mistakes in this basic understanding and everything gets screwed up. You develop your own philosophy. And there are lots of philosophies. But you see, Krishna is explaining this very clearly. Who are you? Where you come from? Who am I? The Supreme Lord. What is this material world? And what is the energies that operate in it? So today you have learned that you are a part of the energy of the Lord. And the material world and the material energy is also one energy. You are superior energy and the material nature is inferior energy. That will also be again coming in. You will see in the next 22nd shloka, you will see Krishna is further explaining to you how you are entangled. Purusha prakriti stohi bhungte prakriti jan gunan karanam guna sangasya sadasad yoni janmashu. You can see that? Very important to know. Purusha prakriti stohi. Asta means to be situated. The Purusha means the enjoyer, the soul. Now he is calling the soul the enjoyer of matter. Right? Purusha means enjoyer of matter. Purusha Prakriti Stohi. He is situated inside Prakriti. Like I showed you the chart, 24 elements, inside that he is situated. Fully matter, 24 different elements. Bhumi, Rapo, Nalo, Vayu, Kam, Mano, Buddhi, Revacha. Then all that 5 elements, Panchamaha, Bhutas, everything together adding to 24. He is situated inside that. Purusha Prakriti Stohi. Prakriti Jan Gunan. Then there's another factor called gunas. The material nature affects you through gunas. Very subtle power. Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. Acts through your mind. Right? And pushes you. Purusha Prakriti Stohi. Prakriti Jan Karanam Guna Sangasya. The reason for him repeatedly coming inside this situation is his association with the gunas. Guna Sangha. Sat Asat Yoni Janmashu. He is born out of different yonis, different wombs. He comes out in many this thing. And the reason for is he's repeatedly getting attached. He's more and more entangled because of the modes with matter. And every time he desires different things and he is born out of different yonis. He's stuck inside. Karanam Guna Sangasya. The reason is association with the modes of material nature. Very brilliant explanations. So all of us, you must understand where we are. First of all, who we are, where we are, why we are here. And then you will find it's necessary for us to get out of here. Because I don't belong to this place. I don't belong to this place. This is called knowledge. Unless you get knowledge, you will never feel I don't belong here, I have to get out of this place. That's the point. For a girl born in a prison house, inside the jail, it's very difficult for the parents to explain to them, actually, we don't belong here. But she only knows the jail. She's running around here and there inside the jail. She knows only that much. And the parents are also jailed inside. So their life is completely inside there. They don't know about something. Somebody from outside has to come and tell, outside it is like this. People are free. They don't be inside jails. They're not governed by these forces of matter. This jail warden and that superintendent, all that. Nobody will beat you up. There's no uniform you have to wear. You're free. You will never know if you're born in the jail. You never know how to appreciate it. Somebody from outside has to come and tell you, yes, it's true. Please come out. I'll show you. And escape from the jail and show you freedom. Then only you say, oh my gosh, I never knew this. I'm free. And you start running down the hill and breathing fresh air and jumping in the water. And it's so free, you'll think. Isn't it? Similarly, unless you know you are in a prison house of this body, the mind, the world, and the wrap-up, you will not even know where you are. That's why this knowledge is very important. And take it seriously. It's not some theory. It is an exact description of where you are now and who you are and what are you doing. And why you should not be doing this, because this is not the whole thing you are. This is a very, 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 very small portion of who you may be, your illusioned person. There is a big vista of full, complete freedom and your full knowledge about yourself. That's why Bhagavad Gita is very important. If you don't know who you are, if you don't know where you are and why you are there, you will never feel like getting out of it. That's the meaning of a conditioned soul. From morning to evening, you are conditioned. From morning to evening, you're thinking, I am this body. From morning to evening, you're working for those temporary relationships who are all going to die, including you. And you're pushed again into another body and another life, and then another body and another life. You're getting ragged repeatedly every janma. And nothing is permanent. None of these relationships are permanent. And your temporary material life is not at all permanent. Just think about it and read this chapter with that understanding. You are not what you think you are. You are something much, much, much greater. you have a very low idea about yourself. When you think, I am Shanmuga Priya, I am Shalini, I am Krishna's Gandhi, I am Devaki, or I am Jaya, I am Sandhya. If you think all these things that way and act according to that way, you are acting according to the condition. Karanam guna sangasya. You are made to feel and think, I am so and so. I must do this. This is what I should do from morning to evening. And then at the end you die. And the next life you get another mental phenomena on you. I am so and so, and you act again. You may be anybody and everybody. You could be in an animal's body, a demigod's body, in another rich guy's body, or poor man's body, whatever. That thing will come inside you and you act like that. Karanam guna sangasya. But none of these things are you, including what you're thinking about yourself now and sitting here. It's not you. You are part and parcel of Krishna. Mama evam sa jivaloke jiva bhuta sanatana. You are my part and parcel eternally, sanatana. So you should reflect on these things very well. Because Krishna is saying, by my mercy only you will understand. Mad bhakta upapadyate. Krishna is saying, mad bhakta vijnaya. Mad bhavayo upapadyate. So if you become a devotee of Krishna, it's very easy to understand it. That is why we're asking you to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Very attentively hear the sound vibration. Spend some time every day offering your food to Krishna and eating prasadam. Open the Bhagavad Gita and read it. And every day think about, who am I? What am I doing? Why should I be doing this? Spend some time in introspective thinking. Use the Bhagavad Gita for your internal journey. So beautifully Krishna has explained. He's doing it for you and me. Spend some time on it. Don't get stuck with this other thing which is not really important. Now you'll understand what is illusion and the power of Maya. That is linked to your desire and your addiction to matter and the material world. Think about it very seriously. Okay? And if you read the further shlokas as a homework, you'll see, you should read the purport of this text 22. Purusha Prakritosti Karanam Guna Sangasya. Very beautifully written. Text 23, again Krishna goes back to explaining super soul. Upadrashta, Anumanta, Bharta, Bhokta, Maheshwara. I have already done that to you. He's a witnesser and the sanctioner. So please read that purport also. So then in 24, Krishna is saying, one who understands his philosophy concerning material nature, the living entity, and the interaction of the modes of nature is sure to attain liberation. That's why I'm spending time with you to make you understand it. Because you must get out of this. As much as I am also wanting to get out of it. He will not take birth here again, regardless of his present position. Your present position is you're a student of Living the Gita sessions, you're sitting in Zoom and you're watching from somewhere. Wherever you may be does not matter. Whoever you are does not matter. If you understand this, you will get liberated from the situation. You will get out of the jail. How many of you would like to do that? Really speaking, you have to leave your property, your money, your relationships, your children, wife, husband, everything together, which is all temporary. Right? If you really gel with it, Krishna will sanction it for you. So please chant Hare Krishna and read Bhagavad Gita scrutinizingly. And spend some time thinking about these things in life. Because time is going so fast. And you'll miss the opportunity. I am just very concerned that you should do this. Okay? So read this. In 24, you see how nicely, how sweet Krishna is. Yo evam veti purusham prakritim cha gunaisaha sarvata vartamano api nasasa bhuyo abhijayate. If you please understand this, I'll make sure you get liberation and you'll never take birth here again. Look at the offer he's giving. Please understand. Please understand. How many times is he telling this? Throughout Bhagavad Gita, begging you to understand. Begging you to understand. Because what can you do? This is the way it is situated. This is the way life is made. And this way it's created. Please don't have these grand illusions about yourself in this particular life. It is not going to last. right? So you will read Super Soul explanations further in 25 and 26. I would like you to read some of these things because Soul Krishna's advice out of love and affection for all of us, right? Then we will look into the 27th shloka. I've explained it briefly to you. Up to 27, please read up the shlokas, the translations, and the purports. Right? Om Tat Sat. Field open for any questions. The kshetra is opened up for any questions. Field of activity. Okay. Hare Krishna. Good night.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Krishna
Hare
Maharaj.
Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Maharaj.